Well, you did well.
Well, any voice will do. Well, look at Rod Stewart for crying out loud.
Yeah. Well, our reading today comes from the Daily Word. It's a publication put out by Unity, the Unity Movement. And for today, it talks about grace. With joy and gratitude, I welcome grace. The guiding, healing, harmonizing presence and power of God is everywhere present. Divine grace is mine whenever I say yes to the presence within me. I release any thought that I am unworthy of grace. Nothing I could do or fail to do could ever disturb my divine identity. Grace need not be earned, nor can it be bought. It is inexhaustible. No matter how much may come my way, I can relax in complete trust that even more will be available as I need it. Grace doesn't happen to me. Doesn't happen to me. It expresses through me. Just as I have been blessed to receive grace when I have needed it, I am honored to be a conduit through which it flows to someone else, blessing them in their time of need. And so in 2 Corinthians 4:15, we hear, yes, everything is for your sake, so that grace, as it extended to even more and more people, may increase thanksgiving to the glory of God. That's pretty good stuff. Thank you, Daily Word. And now the lady who is speaking to us today is new to this venue.
It's exciting.
She's a lady with a soft voice. And she doesn't speak a lot, but when she speaks, there's silence in the room because everyone leans forward. They want to hear what she has to say because it's so deep, so profound, and we just love her. And we always learn something from her. She chooses her words wisely. And today her words are integrating spiritual power into our daily lives. Please help me welcome Judy Holmes, our guest speaker today.
Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, integrating spiritual power into our daily lives. First thing I look at is spiritual power. What is spiritual power? Spirituality exists in all traditions and cultures. Spiritual power is a realization of God within us, that the Christ lives within every human being as a higher aspect of the self. This place exists in the deep consciousness of every human being, whether or not he or she is aware of it. I got that from Teaching of the Inner Christ textbook, page 5. At TIC, we can verify that connection and get our name, which we call the Inner Christ or I Am Self. When we connect with this loving energy, we feel at peace with joy and confidence. Spiritual power is a higher power, a higher consciousness, and with that, we feel and express love, harmony, and divine glory. We can put our spirituality into practice in our daily life through ordinary, everyday activity. Here's a list of practices. It's kind of long. We can incorporate into our daily life, which will help us live more spiritually. Obvious one for us here is meditation, the fundamental discipline whose purpose is for better living, allowing for more patience, better sleep, a deep connection with our inner guidance, and increased compassion for ourselves and others. Pardon me while I turn the page. Next one I have is prayer. Also fundamental discipline, spiritual discipline, and our way of communing with God. Many cultures utilize prayer to be closer to God. At TIC, we have the RUCAT formula, which I know you're all familiar with, but for those out in the internet, just briefly, RUCAT is first we state the title of our desire, and we do it positively. There's recognition, we recognize God, recognize spiritual law. Next is unification, which are statements which acknowledges our unification with God. Claim, we gotta claim specifically, positively, what it is we desire. And then acceptance, which is faith in action of spiritual law. Thanksgiving, we've got to say thank you for this lovely prayer, and it gives us great emotional power to the acceptance of our good. And then finally the release, well, we give it to God. Next one I have on my list is mindfulness. My goal is to incorporate my spirituality in everything I do, so that even the most seemingly mundane tasks have meaning and help me grow as a person. I'm constantly learning lessons, working on forgiving myself and others. Now the next one is my favorite. It's yoga. I've been practicing yoga for 30 years now. For me, it's a form of meditation in action. I start out first thing in the morning. The sun gets me out earlier. It's out there earlier in the morning, so I'm up at 5:30, like this morning, practicing my yoga postures for an hour. And within my postures, I do two prayers. I do a prayer for divine right action, for either a family member, friend, whoever could use a prayer. And then I do a prayer for my health. Yoga gives me greater focus, deep breathing, and I see improvements that help me continue my practice. And if you're new to yoga, I'm like, I don't want to start yet. Just give it some time. And did you know, in our textbook, Teaching of the Inner Christ, on page 131, lesson 8 is Western yoga postures. So we actually have it in our textbook. There are 19 of them, and it is suggested you take them in the order that it's given. And here's some names of them. Well, there are stretches and twists, but there's the shoulder stand, the plow, the camel, swan, cobra, locust, bow, tree. I mean, you could be in a zoo. I think another spiritual power is just being here with like-minded people like we are today, and connecting with nature. I take a walk almost every day in a trail that's next to the river park, and then on the other side is a golf course, and that helps me to tune in to what's around me. I like the green. It just seems to be really soft on my eyes. And they have plaques there that name what vegetation is, or if you have a loved one you want to leave a message for, then there was one yesterday I came across, and I don't think it was any accident that I came across this plaque. It was from John Muir, and it said, "Nature's peace will flow into you as sunshine flows into trees."
Yes.
Wow. Daily spiritual readings, like Marianne did the daily word for us today. Here is Science of Mind. This is the one I've been going to for 39 years. This was my first introduction to spirituality. What's spirituality? At that time, I was a young mother. I had a 4-month-old daughter, and my husband too. And then my parents passed away. There was my dad went first, and 5 months later, my mom had a heart attack and passed. And I was trying to understand what was this all about. And a friend told me about a spiritual place. It was actually an offset of religious science, and I was introduced to this guide. And it's made a huge difference in my life. It complements my meditation, and you just read one page a day. And the one that I dog-eared for today actually has to do with the breath. I'm just going to read the affirmation. Today I breathe joyfully and effortlessly, knowing that eternal love breathes itself as me. And that brings me to the breath and affirmations. I wanted to tell you about a technique that I like to use with the breath. It's called the Sweet 16 breath. And you inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then hold that exhale for another 4. And Sweet 16 because you do it 4 times. So let's just try it.
Okay.
So let's sit up straight, and take a deep breath in for 4, and I'll count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Release, exhale. And now hold that exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you for participating. I appreciate that. So I find that breathing consciously like that, it helps connect me personally to God, to our Christ self. Next, now that we've gone through some of those examples, there's still one more I want to add, and that's our thoughts, our spiritual power. There's energy in our thoughts. We move and have our being through our thoughts. We are given free will with our thoughts. Our mind actively, inevitably tends to create our physical reality. So focus on the good and positive affirmations. So we've gone through some examples, and the next is, the idea is to integrate these into our daily lives. So for the definition of integrity, I got from the dictionary, is to form, coordinate, or blend into a functioning or unified whole. Okay, what does that mean? So it's integration. A spiritual power is when we allow higher concepts of information to manifest into our physical reality. This happens by allowing time and space for this new energy to integrate into our physical reality. Integration and allowing time for integration is so important in our spiritual journey, because without doing this, what we have is a lot of information and nothing applicable, no action happening. So what does it matter if the information we are utilizing, not integrating, not allowing, what's the use of it? Oh, how about by applying what we've learned to our life, that we're able to start seeing the shifts and the healing guidance to shift our physical reality. Spiritual integration is a path of openness to the truth of being, to the infinite dimensions of being that may express themselves practically in a life that's full, open, loving, and generous. To a mystery that may continually redefine our experience of what it means to be alive and to be a human being. It allows for evolving sense of union with life and with each other. This means showing up with discipline and commitment to our practice, each day without question. Discipline itself is a spiritual practice, as simple as showing up without excuses. At times, I actually think of myself as a disciple of Jesus. I like the idea of following him. And with that discipline, there has to be a desire. The desire motivates us. It is that energy what impels us to reach out and take our own. This is divine urge. So, integrating spiritual power is about living the discoveries and gifts rather than just thinking about them. It's easy to be philosophical and think deep thoughts, but to embody what you have realized is the essence of spiritual integration. Instead of just talking, reading, or hearing about a certain practice, you become it and unify with it in your daily life. I picked a quote from Carl Jung. It says, "Wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, but by integration of the contraries." Think about that one.
Yes.
May peace be with you. Namaste.
We'll invite you back.
She's very thoughtful.
Thank you.
Wow, we gotta have her back.
I do. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, you're.
Thank you, Judy.
Oh, our day scheduled for July 30.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay. Well, now we have the opportunity to contribute to the teaching of the inner Christ. And if you have found value in today's service, we invite you to assist in the support of the teaching of the inner Christ as you are led by visiting our website at teachingoftheinnerchrist.org with your donation. And so we trust completely what Jesus the Christ said to us in Luke 6:38. "Give, and it shall be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together. Running over will be put into your lap. For the measure that you use it will be measured back to you." So as you give, so you receive. So we say, thank you, wonderful God. And now we have a blessing of the offering. If you'd like to say that with me, it's on page 9 of your program. Together. My spiritual power attracts prosperity and abundance in my life. This wealth allows me to live a life I love and to continue supporting the teachers. And now, if you'd like to sing with us,